What's going on YouTube? Mark Fleetwood here. Welcome back to the Daily Grind Trader. Tonight we're going live with viewer's choice on whatever you guys want for technical analysis. We want to get a few minutes into the charts and we're going to take a look and start with Bitcoin until we get somebody, some people into the chat and start looking at messages and stuff. But yeah, this is something interesting I just wanted to show you if you weren't aware. Just how important an ETF can be. This is gold from essentially 1982 until 2004. 2004 was when the first gold ETF was made, and from 2004 to 2011, you see a massive increase. And essentially, you want about 400%, 428% gains. So to get up to just under $2,000 by 2011. So there's an ETF at 30,000. You could easily see a 150 plus to $200,000 Bitcoin very shortly after the ETF goes live for a spot ETF. So keep that in mind. Looks like most recently the SEC said that there was there were insufficiencies in the application for the ETF, so it did not go through yet, but it is not a total loss. It is not a total letdown. So let's take a look. All right, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin now on a weekly chart, and I'll probably go in a little bit more onto the lower time frames, but weekly is looking really good. And you see that we really have to cross over where we're at. These wicks here, you see going back even farther, that 30 to 31K range was a big support before it turned resistance. So it's going to be a heavy area of resistance. It's just kind of going to be where it is. It's going to be a level of resistance right now that's going to be required to break before the market can really go any further. I do see us getting to the level here between 44 and 48. I think that happens prior to there being like the full-on bull run. I think we get there. Then once the real kind of the full-on bull run starts is when you're going to be seeing the push into the all-time high again, breaking that previous all-time high. Not far different than the 2017. So 2017 top, and you come over, you see in 2020 early or the end of 2020. So this would be around 24 for current time frame. You start seeing that push to break the previous all-time high, and that's when you get that real parabolic move going. That's when the move will go. So I'm thinking the fall of 2024 is when the real bull run starts. But once it bottomed out, and I could kind of take this range away under here, like that can really be gone. That's really just kind of that COVID wick, that COVID dump when the economy gets shut down. But outside of that, after the bottom, there was a nice return about 3/4 of the way to the all-time up to about $14,000. And that's about what I see here. The price action is, while it's not perfect, it's not a perfect fractal. It's not, nothing is identical, but you can see some similarities. You can see where things kind of start to rhyme a little bit. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if 44 to 48,000 was a kind of a hard top for 2023 before getting a dip back down. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a run where we get we get this kind of run up before the end of 2023, and then we have a sharp push back down to retest this level as a support, and then we kind of blow up here, and that'll be going up to all-time high, and that'd be the end of 24 is once we start pushing towards the all-time high there. And take a look at a coin that I really like a lot, and it's an altcoin that I think you can see a pretty accurate look at where we're at. And it's Enjin coin. I've talked about Enjin before, and I'm going to go very much top down on the analysis here. So Two things. On the weekly time frame, the macro time frame, this was our last lower high before we hit this lower low, and then we broke this with a higher high. This lower low, the last lower low, was also a bullish order block. And that bullish order block just recently got tested and has held a support. So I'm very, very confident that that bottom price was the bottom price around 22 cents. And that Engine Coin is going to flourish, and we're going to retest levels, you know, back at least back into the 50-cent range, 50 to 55-cent range to test this high. And again, you know, you got this level here where this was a flip zone, you know, a support turn resistance here. And I think that Engine Coin will get stuck. Not that it'll get stuck, but there will be a fight to break 56, that 56, 57 cent range. So I think there's going to be a fight there for that. But the bottom held very nice. This bullish order block came and held. Got a retest of it, and we're getting a nice push off of that bullish order block. There's another one that I don't typically talk about meme coins. I don't really show for meme coins or anything like that. I'm not a huge fan of them, but I can't help but think of Shiba Inu right now with this range and the whole idea of the power of three. The power of three for Shiba Inu has literally just pushed back into the range after this wick down that was nearly an all-time low altogether. It pushed back towards the, you know, very close to the all-time low. And I think this is going to be another one of those massive power of three breaks. And this is going to be really speculative because while Shiba Inu does offer more utility than Doge or other meme coins, it's still a meme coin. And if I were to trade this, if I were to buy this now, you see you have a pretty big stop loss here. Even getting down to this wick is still like 30+%. So it's gonna be hard to really get. You'd have to be willing to risk and essentially lose 35% of the portfolio or of the trade value. But I think it can get back to retest this local high here. And I mean, that'd be a massive gain. It would be 9-to-1, and 9-to-1 on a trade like that is going to be huge at 290% gain. Now, I know these gain numbers sound crazy, but you can see on the macro charts, on the weekly charts, that once the momentum gets going, it doesn't take that long. Like you see these massive candles down, and you see the massive candles up. Like this 1 week candle back in October 21. 205% candle, and followed up by a 30% candle and an 85% candle. So it's not it's not out of the realm of possibility to see this make a massive push to the upside just purely out of speculation, purely out of how hard this fell. And like I said, this is a meme coin that actually does have some utility and some operability. I know that the team has been working on different things, a layer 2 and some other stuff. I don't follow it that closely to know exactly what they're doing. But if we go onto the daily, we kind of break this down onto the daily chart to see where we can get the best entry. So this was our most recent high prior to, we made a low here. Then we never really we got a little bit of a lower high here before it dipped all the way down. So the lower high got tapped through, but it only wicked through. So there was no conviction on pushing through that high. There was no conviction there. So there was no displacement really. I want to see a clean, hard break through this. Like I want to see like a 5 or 10% candle go through this line, and then that's when I'd be looking to see, was there a fair value gap created? Was there a a was there a level of buying supremacy and sell side deficiency so that the buy side had an imbalance, price moved up so fast that the price the orders couldn't be filled at their current value. The prices had to go up. Just like here, the prices had to go down. This was a very imbalanced candle because you only had a wick up here and no wick down here. And that was a big area of imbalance. So the price immediately went back to fill that imbalance. So those are the kinds of things you need to look for when you see large candles. Look for filling the imbalance, and whether or not that'll be a reversal or not still remains to be seen. But we have gotten back into the range, so I would put a buy order in here and look to, like I said, have this lower wick be the stop loss. But that's a fairly large range, and you're risking a lot. So put a small percentage of your portfolio or small dollar amount trade according to what your risk tolerance is. And again, I'm not advising anything, but at a 30% risk to reward or 30% risk level, you have to be cautious with that. Taking a look. Let's see, what are our big gainers today? VET's been on fire. Phantom, I know Phantom had a really good look recently, so I'm gonna take a look at Phantom here. We're gonna go back to the weekly because I think for crypto, looking at the macro is just a much better way to go. You're gonna be much safer overall because it can wick and move so quickly on a day-to-day. You could gain or lose 5, 8, 10% on any given day. That going macro is really the way to go. So again, on the macro, on the weekly chart, we got this final lower low. We had this lower high. This was our last lower high. And this is our last lower low. Breakthrough with conviction. This is the kind of break you want to see. This is how you want to see a break happen when you're looking to change structure. When you're looking to flip the market, that's what you want to see. And then you leave gaps. And then this is going to be the most extreme of the fair value gaps. It's going to be this little one here. Open this up a little bit. So this is from the lowest bottom fair value gap, and you see price came back. And I tweeted about this months ago and said if you have patience, if you can be patient, you will be able to get a price in this fair value gap and get a generational opportunity, buying opportunity, because getting back in that price would be the lowest that I think Phantom would get back to. So for Phantom now, because we did pull back, we pulled back substantially. So from this low to the top, it pulled back further than the 79% range. So if you were to do the potential extension off of this, looking about between, and there's a kind of a large range, but between 70 cents and $1, $1.01. So essentially $1. That would be the range I would see the next leg up kind of getting to, because you've got a pretty solid bottom here. You had 3 weeks where this bottom held. You had a pump up, and that pump up broke the previous lower high with conviction. This was the previous lower high on the weekly chart, and that broke with conviction. It left a fair value gap. It left multiple, but the lowest fair value gap here was left. And we tested it, we filled that gap, and now it's time to get rolling to the upside again. So I see a strong presence for Phantom moving up in the near future. Let's see, what do we got for Harmony? Oh, Harmony, I must have left an old drawing on there. Let's see, did my old drawing hold up? It did. That was our old order block. That was my pre-streaming color pattern. So let's make that a little bit cleaner here, a little bit more of a transparent. But we had a nice, or a double bottom, and I think that is an absolute bottom here. I think we had an absolute double bottom, and a low 0.00929, 0.00935. So just a hair of a wick lower on that double bottom, but again, a nice pick back up off of it, and the price is moving to the upside again. And just to do another, can't really do an extension off of that, but you know, we had our higher high, and now we're looking to, you know, since we did have a technically a lower low here, it's going to be very interesting to see what it does, because it should, if it stays bullish, it should break this high to stay bullish, but it could make a lower high and potentially fall further down. But I really don't see that as being very likely, simply just because this double bottom is held, and I don't see that much more bearish pressure before we start moving in a very, very bullish direction. Let's see where we got. Is XRP still down for the day? Down slightly. Let's take a look at XRP against USD. And this, you know, this is still marked up from my last video, but again, XRP on a weekly, fair value gap. Now these were a little bit bigger on the weekly charts. I think I was doing this on a daily, but you know, you got a weekly fair value gap here. Change this up a little bit. And there was not a fair value gap here on the weekly. This was only a daily gap, so for the weekly this could be gone. But on the daily, where I was looking at this, you had a fair value gap here, and you had a double tap into a liquidity pool here. So taking sell side, bottom side liquidity here, I think there's another good opportunity for a run up on XRP. That has not changed. That thought process on XRP hasn't changed. We see a new high, we see a break above 58, likely going to at least 60 cents, and maybe hitting the next real level of resistance. We'll have an area of about, where's that, 68, 69 cents. Somewhere in this area here will be like our first real major resistance, and then we'll have another big one around 90 cents. So those would be our areas to really look for on XRP. And I'm streaming to nobody, so this is starting to get a little bit boring. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to just flow through some things now to keep it up and keep going in case anybody hops in and wants a request. But this is what you got to do when you're starting and don't have a huge following. No one really cares that I go live, so we're going to take a look at VET. So yeah, so VET, you can see here, we are starting to push up against the previous high. We're starting to push against that last lower high before this last lower low. I don't know why I keep doing trend lines there. I want to go the horizontal raise. So this has to break. This has to break with conviction, or we're going to be range bound here. This is just going to be kind of a range until there is a clean potential breakout. But the price action has been looking really good over the past few days, and if we go on the weekly, you know, not much of a change, but that weekly is a nice V-shaped recovery, and it left a fair value gap, which I would be a little bit concerned about having it come back down and hit this. And actually, if I'm in VeChain, if I'm looking to buy, there's my area to try to get in. If I can really be cheap and try to get in at the lowest possible price, you know, you probably missed the bottom here, but outside of that, this fair value gap around 1.758 would be the next best option, I think, if this excuse me, if this high breaks, we get a nice push up above it, and then we come back down, test this, and we run through. So what that would look like here too is you're doing a fib retracement. You're looking to get to a new high, so you get up to about, you know, 2.33, and you break this high with some conviction. Then your fair value gap is somewhere between the you know, the 50 and the 62 fib retrace. and you'd be looking, something like that would be a solid retrace to look for an entry. You know, and this could be sometime end of July, beginning of August, whenever. But you know, these are the things we look at. It's what we want to see. We want to see, do we break this previous lower high? Do we start to change structure? And can we find areas of value? Can we find a discounted price range, a fair value gap, stuff like that to try to get in and just make the most money, have the best buying opportunity or the best selling opportunity to get in at, you know, those extreme areas where price is very likely to have a reaction, and a very strong reaction to that price range. So sorry guys, didn't get the full hour. I'm going to do this every night though, so midnight every night I'm going to go, and I'm going to go as long as I can. If people start to show up, people start to join in, I will take any requests and do whatever, you know, we want. And this is the viewer show. This is your guys' show. So if it's taking a coin from the macro, from the weekly chart down, and breaking it all the way down to the hourly chart to find a pinpoint entry position, we can do it that way too. Or if it's just a, you know, a blitz around of coin after coin after coin, just going on the macro to see where we're at, I don't mind. I would prefer to go a little bit longer than this, but I'm really starting to struggle with finding things to talk about and keeping just talking to myself, knowing that there's no one in the chat. So guys, I'm going to keep trying this. We're going to keep going every night, midnight, Eastern Standard Time, midnight. And as always, guys, until next time, peace.